right. This is Dr. Haines Ely, and he's an old friend of mine, too. I know a lot of people, you know. Okay. But I've known you for several years, back when I was out in Grass Valley.
That was about 11 years ago.
I stayed with you at your house, and I was on your radio show.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Dr. Ely is a regular medical doctor. He's also a professor of dermatology at the university, isn't it? Out there in California?
UC Davis.
Okay. So he's got a lot of other things going, but still he's gotten involved in all of these things. He also has a weekly radio show, what is called Earth Mysteries. Mm-hmm. Earth Mysteries. So it's definitely a metaphysical radio show. And he said he's interviewed just about everybody in the metaphysical field. So you're living two lives, you know. The traditional accepted one, and then you're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, huh? The other side.
Mr. Hyde.
Okay. But he said it was about 1999, he became aware of John of God in Brazil. And he's going to be telling you all about John of God. And there's some people have been telling me they don't even know who he is. And I'm very surprised because he's a very famous psychic surgeon. But Haines got acquainted with him, and you bought land down there and built a house down there. So you've been going about once a month, is that right?
27 times.
To be down there, and he works with John of God, and he's able to be right next to him. Somebody just coming in said, well, wasn't he proven a fraud? And I said, I don't think so. You've been right there watching everything he does, and he is videoed. And he said these videos are going to blow you away. They've never been seen before of how John of God operates and works with the psychic surgery. So I'm going to let Haines tell you the whole story.
Thanks. And thank you, Dolores, for asking me. I told her I'm not used to talking about this kind of stuff in public, and she said, well, my crowd's easily amused. You'll do all right. So people always ask, how did you ever get to see John of God the first time? What made you go see him? Could we turn on the PowerPoint, please? There we go. And my next door neighbor has a pond, 10 acres and a pond, and an apple orchard around the pond, and he broke his back on a motorcycle accident, and he couldn't walk, literally from me to that screen. And he was going down to see John of God, and he asked me to take care of his place for him while he was gone. And he had a dock in his pond that was falling apart, so I thought, well, I'll take this dock apart for him, and I'll build a bridge across the creek that comes into the pond, so when he comes back, he can get across the creek. Well, this is 2 weeks later. I'm pouring concrete for the footings for the bridge, and I look up the hill, and there's Peter, the neighbor, coming down the hill with a 100-pound bag of concrete on his back, walking it down to me. And I looked and said, Peter, you couldn't even walk. You had broken bones in your back. And he says, yeah, well, I'm okay now. So that's why I wanted to go see John of God originally. This is my late wife, Catalina. She died last summer, and people keep asking me, well, why didn't John of God cure her? Well, the answer is it was her time to go, and she went very well. She had metastatic lung cancer and never had any pain, lived a normal life right up till the end. So he did take away all the pain, and people, like I say, they keep asking, why didn't he save her? Well, he doesn't save everybody, but he does take away their pain. This is Abadiânia, the town where he lives. It's nothing to do there, downtown Abadiânia. And this is the road down to the Casa Dom Inacio where he does his work. And if you're a psychic person and you can see, there are entities, there are spirits, not in this picture, but there are spirits standing all the way down this road, sometimes 2 or 3 deep. And the people walk down the road, and as they walk, the spirits analyze them and look at them. This is getting right near the Casa. The Casa's over here on the left. Brazil is big sky country. There's lots of colorful posadas, places to stay. This is one of them in the town. This is the Casa Dom Inacio. I can actually see this better from down here, so if you don't mind, I'll look at the pictures down here. This is the Casa Dom Inacio, where he practices. This is the garden of the Casa. fruit trees in the casa. Not to scare anybody, but they're poisonous snakes. Here they clear out every morning. There's a crystal shop, and if you like crystals, Brazil's a great place to get crystals. The first time we ever went, we went and bought crystals at the crystal shop, like one like this, and we would take them up to John for a blessing, and he'd say, "Está preparada," it's already blessed, don't worry about it. So then we'd get crystals in Pirenópolis or Brasilia and other places, and we'd try and fool him. We would put them on a tray with the blessed crystals and bring them up to him, a tray full of them, and he would separate the ones that had been blessed from the ones that weren't. And then the ones that weren't blessed, he'd take and throw over his shoulder. So, this one's no good. So we learned not to take any crystals that weren't blessed, or even fool with them, because he could see which ones were blessed and which ones weren't. And so if you like crystals, you want to go to Brazil with an empty suitcase. This is the view from the back of the casa. The town of Pirenópolis is over here. It sits on a mountaintop in the middle of nowhere. Abadiânia is about 90 miles from Brasilia. If you go into the casa, you walk down this corridor, and there's a little booth right there. Translators in there. And there's a little office right here where you can sign up for stuff. And people worry about going there and not getting translation, but there are great translators. There's a room that's filled with old crutches and wheelchairs people leave behind. This is Arturo. He's one of the main translators. And these ladies are from here. And I don't know their names because my wife, when she died, didn't leave me the names of all the people that went to Brazil with us. But these ladies are from Bentonville. If any of you recognize them, let me know who they are. They're sitting out in front in the casa waiting to go in for a healing. When you go into the casa, there are two rooms that you go through. They're called current rooms. The first current room has mediums that take entities off or attachments off of people. And then the second current room has mediums that sit in the current room. These rooms. And all the healing is done in current, in corrente. This is Dorothy. He's Zhao's favorite, oldest medium. She has her own seat right up in the front. He sits over here. There's a great big crystal that's been added to the casa lately. So people line up, they come up before him, and it's bam, bam, bam. It's just this fast, like this, just a minute at a time. And myself and my wife, when we were there, we were both mediums of the casa. And I never got to get up in front of him more than a couple of times. So whenever I would go up in the line, he would just jerk his head and go, "Get to work, sit in current." So I never got to really talk to him much in the current room. Brazilian trance mediums, there's one in every town. Literally, there's one in every town. And the healer is the medium. The healer goes into a trance, and he doesn't, usually, most Brazilian trance mediums don't remember anything